create code, custom code for dynamic CRM, regardless of whether it's on-premise or online, you should make all of your server processes as fast as possible. And you always have a fallback of setting up an asynchronous process if you suspect that it will run too slow. Regardless of whether it's synchronous or asynchronous, you have to make sure that if you're running through any sort of database, record updates, creates, all of those things will encourage transaction. And whenever that happens, it should be fast. So you cannot write code that makes a slow running transactions. That it will fail eventually, and it will be bad regardless of type of the deployment. Synchronous versus asynchronous workflows. The workflow typically would typically be asynchronous in most of the scenarios, and workflows are there for you to create processes that are not instantaneous. So, if you have essentially sequence of business rules that might modify some data, might send some notifications, you really want to implement that as a workflow, keep it asynchronous. And you would want to use plugins for something that has to happen right away. Say you're changing the record and you want to create calculated value of some field based on the changes, and make sure that it's visible on the screen right away as part of the record update. You can use plugin, or now you can use actually synchronous workflow for the same purpose. And synchronous workflows was the new feature in CRM 2013. It essentially allows you to configure those type of operations, such as an update. You change a value, drop down on the screen, and you want to calculate or change some other value based on the first change. You can now write a workflow that does this update and mark it as asynchronous. And
so no more JavaScript. You don't have to write JavaScript to do stuff.
No more JavaScript. Yeah. User will see it right away. But again, you have to make sure that only very simple workflows will be marked as synchronous. Also, in online environments specifically, they probably will be guilty for eating up a lot of server resources, as workflows are notoriously resource greedy. So just use your best judgment and try to minimize things that have to be running synchronously.